Welcome. We're thrilled to have you here today. My name is Sandy Dunn, and I am the General Manager here at the DCU Center, and I am also the person who has the privilege of being the Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Research Bureau. We welcome you to the 25th Anniversary Annual Meeting. As we prepared for today, by looking at the past 25 years of the Bureau's history, I was and continue to be truly humbled by the company that I keep with the 10 distinguished individuals who have held this position prior to me. But we'll have more on that later in the program. Before I start, we have several distinguished presenters who are going to be part of our program today, and of course we'll be introducing them a little later in the program. But first, we'd like to honor some public officials that are in attendance and recognize their support of the Research Bureau over the past several years. You can hold any applause. I'd like to recognize them all, and then we'll give them all a round of applause. Massachusetts Secretary of Transportation, Jeffrey Mullen, City Councilor Barbara Haller, City Councilor Constantina Lukes, School Committee Member Brian O'Connell, City Manager Michael O'Brien, Assistant City Manager Julie Jacobson, Police Chief Gary Jem, Fire Chief Jerry Dio, DPW Commissioner Bob Moylan, Dr. Melinda Boone, the Superintendent of the Worcester Public Schools, Tom Zadelis, Worcester's CFO, David Moore, Worcester's City Solicitor, Holden Town Manager Nancy Galkowski, and Westborough's Town Manager Jim Malloy. If we could have a round of applause for all of those. We also have several individuals here who I'm going to ask to join me here on stage, all of them, who are bringing greetings and citations. You want to all join me at this point? We're going to start actually with Representative Lou Evangelitis, Representative Karen Polito, and Representative Vincent Pedoni.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you, Lieutenant Governor Murray, Secretary Mullen, all of the officials that are here, and all of our distinguished guests and business people that come together today. In celebration, even though these are very difficult times for many of us, it's great to have a special celebration, and we're very happy to be here with you, Roberta Schaefer, who has done an outstanding job for 25 years for our Research Bureau. And speaking as a public official, there are some very challenging issues that we need to take on in government, and it's very, very helpful and useful to have an outside authority as the Research Bureau digging in, researching the facts, gathering the information, and then taking on the larger task of presenting it in public forums at the State House and elsewhere to inform you, the larger public, about the issues of the day that we need to take on and solve. And without your input, we would get to more mediocre outcomes. You raise the standard, you raise the bar, you challenge government to do better, and you bring a lot of accountability to the system, which is, of course, necessary. When you're looking at issues like pension reform and healthcare reform and how to balance budgets with less, we need more people like Roberta Schaefer and her team and all of you who support it with your funding to continue the great resource that you are, not only to the Worcester region, but to our Commonwealth at large. So we, the House of Representatives, joined by my colleagues Representative Lou Evangelitis and Representative Vin Pedoni, offer our congratulations to you, Roberta Schaefer, and the Research Bureau for 25 years in existence. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Roberta. And with that, Senator Michael Moore, if you'd like to join us, why don't you stay here with us, Roberta?
Good afternoon. It's an honor to be here today. As was stated, we're facing many challenges today, and if we're going to come to resolutions or answers to these questions, we need input from the private sector, municipal sector, various sources of knowledge and experience. And having the Worcester Research Bureau available here to help tackle those issues and give us input that we may not realize or even think of is really a compliment to the Worcester area. And also, it helps us resolve these issues at the state level and thinking in the future and how we can help municipalities and the business sector. I have from the State Senate an official citation. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Worcester Regional Research Bureau, Inc., the celebration of your 25th annual meeting, and be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends best wishes for continued success, that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to and a copy of transmitted by the Clerk of the Senate, signed by the Senate President Teresa Murray, the Clerk William Welsh, and myself, Senator Michael Moore. Congratulations.
Thank you, Senator. And thank you very much, Senator. And now, please join me in welcoming our own Worcester Mayor, Joe O'Brien.
Hi, good evening. It's incredibly wonderful to be with all of you here today. I want to offer my deepest congratulations to the Worcester Municipal Research Bureau on their 25th anniversary, and also a deep word of thanks for the incredible work that Roberta and her staff do. I've been grateful for the support they provided as we worked on a project that I had started as mayor on our working group on job growth and retention, and the support we provided was incredibly helpful. And we all deeply appreciate the work that's done, helping to guide public policy leaders and elected officials with relevant, timely data. I like to say that we at times may disagree with the analysis a little bit, but you can't argue with the facts. So incredibly important work that's being done. And as I like to say, I actually keep a binder on my desk of the last 5 years of the Research Bureau's report because they're such incredibly useful tools for guiding some of our decisions. Very quickly, I have the pleasure of reading a proclamation on behalf of our City Council. It reads as follows: whereas the citizens of Worcester and the surrounding region benefit from lively and informed public policy debate, and whereas local government is always in need of fresh, independent approaches about how to best serve the public, and whereas in recognition of this need for nonpartisan public policy research and analysis for both the benefit of government and civil society, a group of community leaders founded the Research Bureau in 1985. Through this time, the Research Bureau has changed and grown and has always remained true to its central purpose to promote a hospitable climate in which citizens and businesses can live, work, and prosper. And whereas over the past 25 years, the Worcester Municipal Research Bureau has contributed significantly to public policy debate in the region, primarily through issuing of over 210 research reports and hosting over 160 public forums. And whereas 2010 marks the 25th anniversary of the Worcester Municipal Research Bureau, now therefore I, Mayor Joseph C. O'Brien, do hereby proclaim September 22nd, 2010 as Worcester Regional Research Bureau Appreciation Day in the City of Worcester, and encourage all residents to recognize and participate in its celebration. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. The Research Bureau has been supported by public officials over the past 25 years, but the fact remains that the good work of this organization would not be possible without the financial support from corporations, small businesses, local foundations, and individuals. Certainly, we would never have been able to reach this milestone today, and the proof of this continuing support is visible in all the banners around the room with today's sponsors that you can see hanging, as well as on the slides here to my sides. I would like to specifically thank and provide a special mention to Commerce Bank, which is our presenting sponsor today, and Bowditch and Dewey, our leadership sponsor. And now I'd like to ask Brian Thompson, President of Commerce Bank, to come forward and say a few words.
Thank you, Sandy. Lieutenant Governor, nice to see you. Commerce Bank is delighted to be the presenting sponsor of this year's 25th annual meeting of the Research Bureau. It's quite a milestone, and we congratulate all of you, many of you, who have been involved over those years. Commerce Bank, along with other corporate sponsors, are sponsoring a speaker series entitled Cities, Mapping the Road to Success. This series has been comprised of 5 nationally renowned public policy experts, each of whom has extensive knowledge in their fields. They've been very well attended and they've been very informative. And I just would like to invite all of you to our next speaker, which is on the 27th of October, Sandra Stotsky, and she's going to be speaking on teacher quality as a civil rights issue. They will be held at the Mass College of Pharmacy, as they have so generously offered their facilities on Foster Street, and they're held in the morning, and you can register at the website of the Research Bureau. This celebration also highlights the excellent work put forth by the Research Bureau over the 25 years and is contained in the program. Their work has been fact-based and allows our citizens and public policy makers to make more informed decisions on important issues that are critical to all of us. Through this period, Roberta Schaefer and her team have stayed the course, consistently delivering high-quality reports, which have become models for other communities. As a region, we have been very well served by the Research Bureau. We congratulate Roberta for her excellence in leadership. She truly is amazing. And on behalf of Commerce Bank and other sponsors of this year's celebration, we salute you, Roberta, for the important role that the Research Bureau plays in making this a much better place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. In addition to being a valued sponsor of many of the activities of the Research Bureau, Brian also contributes his time and his talent as he is currently the Vice President of Finance and a member of the Executive Committee of the Board of Directors. I won't recite the list of the names of the individuals that are both on the Executive Committee and the Board, as you have it in the annual reports that were on your chairs when you came in. But as a whole, I would ask the Board and the Executive Committee to all stand to be recognized. Many of them already have ribbons on their badges. So if you would stand, please. Up. Thank you very much for your time and leadership. And now with that, I'd like to welcome another individual to the microphone who clearly needs no introduction, the Research Bureau's own President and CEO, Dr. Roberta Schaefer.
Thank you, Sandy. Wow, what can I say? I'm deeply appreciative to all of you for coming today and for joining us in celebrating a quarter of a century of providing independent, nonpartisan research and analysis of public policy issues. I'm delighted to be standing before you after 25 years. Heading the Research Bureau has been and continues to be a never-ending adventure that would not have happened without all of you. I want to echo Sandy's thanks to all our sponsors, our board members, and our executive committee members. And to those, I would like to recognize those individuals who had the foresight to establish the Research Bureau 25 years ago. Among the Bureau's prominent founders were Philip Morgan, Norman Scharfman, Fairman Cowan, Robert Bowditch, Paul Morgan, Lois Green, and Tom Green. I would also like to recognize some of the original board members who are in attendance today. David Forsberg, Lois Green, Joel Green, David Grennan, Abe Haddad, Bill Kelleher, Barbara Cohen, Philip Morgan, Dee Moskis, Kevin O'Sullivan, Phil Schwachman, George Tetler, and Meredith Wesby. And would all of those founding members who are present please stand and be recognized. I also want to make special note of our past board chairmen who have ably led and shaped the Research Bureau to where it is today. George Tetler, Richard Collins, Philip Morgan, Alex Drapos, John Rowe, John Nelson, Agnes Cull, Mark Colborn, Eric Schultz, Brian Buckley, and Sandra Dunn. Please stand and be recognized. Thank you. I also see someone in the audience without whom the Research Bureau would not have been possible, and that's Sam Tyler, remains the president of the Boston Municipal Research Bureau, and our Research Bureau is modeled after theirs. Sam, would you please stand and be recognized? Cymbeline Day, a local observer of moon signs, who gives her weekly forecast on the Hank Stoltz Midday Report each Monday before I discuss public policy issues, noted this past Monday that tomorrow, Thursday, is a full moon. Apart from all the ominous things that are supposed to accompany a full moon, Ms. Day noted that this is the time of month to introduce new ideas. While we don't usually confer with astrologists before issuing our studies, we have chosen today to unveil our newly restructured website. This work was done pro bono by Penta Communications, which has most generously offered to maintain it as well. It embodies just about everything the Research Bureau has written during the past quarter century. We hope you will find it useful and easy to navigate. Would Deborah Penter and her team please stand and be recognized for this extraordinary work and their generosity? Deborah? Where'd she go? My very special thanks to Sandy Dunn, who's been a wonderful chairman during the past year, both generous with her time and insightful and thoughtful leadership. I value her as a friend and a mentor, and this event would not have been possible without her generosity and that of her staff here at the DCU Center. My sincerest thanks. Two pillars of any nonprofit agency are the hardworking staff who produce the product and the supporters, financial and otherwise, who believe in the mission of the organization and sustain it over the long haul. I would like to thank the many corporations, local foundations, and individuals who have supported and continue to support the Research Bureau even during these most challenging times. The confidence that you have expressed in the Research Bureau's work has provided the encouragement, to say nothing of the sustenance, for us to continue, and my heartfelt gratitude to all of you. Now, before turning to our featured speaker, I'd like to take a moment to try to answer the most frequently asked question by the uninitiated. So what does the Research Bureau do anyway? Oh, that's easy. Independent research in the public interest. Well, what does that mean? You see, after 25 years, I tend to talk to myself a lot. Whenever you read a newspaper or listen to the news on radio, internet, or TV, you'll hear someone exclaim that some politician has been captured by special interest, or that a particular organization or individual represents, for example, environmental interests, or the pro-choice movement, or labor unions, or big business, or farmers, or homeowners, or seniors. The list is endless. When was the last time you heard someone mention serving the public interest? And is there really such a thing? Are we all just a bundle of particular interests? And if so, how do we put all our pieces together to make a whole person? How do we all live harmoniously in a community or in the nation if we pit one interest against another? Rich versus poor, male versus female, seniors versus school-age kids, black versus white, gay versus straight, native-born versus immigrants, and on and on. What happened to e pluribus unum? From many, one. Enter the Research Bureau. I don't mean to imply that the Research Bureau is a sort of savior, but the idea of examining an issue from all sides, trying to reconcile competing interests, and developing policy that is most likely to benefit the whole community has a long and honored tradition in this nation. In fact, according to Federalist 10, that is exactly what representative government was supposed to do. By researching the facts, analyzing them, and trying to elevate the level of civil discourse based on sound research, perhaps we can agree on each particular issue what is in the public interest. It's not easy to define, but as Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart famously said of pornography, you can't define it, but you know it when you see it. That has been our goal for the past 25 years, and with your continued support, we will do the same for the next 25. Thank you. When I learned that Lisa Mancini, the Senior Vice President of CSX, had agreed to be the Research Bureau's annual meeting speaker, the choice of someone to introduce her to the greater Worcester community was obvious: Lieutenant Governor Tim Murray. Tim has been a passionate advocate for increasing commuter rail service between Worcester and Boston since his early days as a member of the Worcester City Council. He has always seen commuter rail, and I believe correctly so, as a tool for generating economic development in this region. It will make it easier for people to commute to jobs in the Boston area, but equally important, he viewed commuter rail as a means for enhancing Worcester's accessibility to a larger labor pool such that employers would find it attractive to bring jobs here. The major obstacle to increasing the number of trains was track availability. But that was not going to be an insurmountable obstacle to engineer Tim. He got himself elected lieutenant governor and bought the tracks. Of course, it wasn't as simple as that. Tim is more like the little engine that could, and his hard work and perseverance have paid off to the benefit of the entire region. Not only do we expect 20 commuter rail round trips daily by 2012, but Worcester will be poised to become the New England hub for CSX freight distribution. Please join me in welcoming Worcester's Chief Engineer, Lieutenant Governor Tim Murray.
I just joked with Roberta. I thought she'd have one of those little engineer train hats for me. But thank you, Roberta, very much for those kind words. And I just want to echo what Mayor O'Brien had to say. Through my time on the City Council and as mayor for 5 years, the Research Bureau's report added tremendous value to the discussion and the debate, and in many instances helped prompt debate and discussion. And that is important. If we're going to have a discussion or debate on how we resolve issues or tackle problems, it's important that we have as many viewpoints and the different data and background. And the Research Bureau has been invaluable in that. And again, just want to say thank you to Roberta and her entire team, who we've had a chance to work on. It's a pretty good alumni, and I've had a chance to bump into some of the people that Roberta's trained as I go about my work across the Commonwealth. So again, Roberta, thank you to your team for the many hours and work in preparing 210 reports on many municipal and regional issues. It's pretty labor intensive, and your team does it well. I just want to say it is great to be here. It's been a pretty exciting week for all of us, I think, in the Worcester region, or the last couple of weeks. But as somebody once said, if what you did yesterday looks big, you haven't done much today. We are working hard each and every day. We're encouraged by, the governor and I are encouraged by the activity that's beginning to really build. 65,000 new jobs since December. We saw nearly over 20,000 added in July in the private sector, the single biggest monthly gain in 20 years. That momentum has continued. Massachusetts has added jobs in each of the past 7 months, and we're the only state in the country that can say that. And I think in part because some of the dialogue that the Research Bureau and others like Sam have put on the table, we've tried to make sure that we're trying to look at ways that we in state government and the Patrick Murray administration can be more competitive. and whether it be pursuing pre-permitted pad-ready sites with 43D, looking to shorten the regulatory process, which the Research Bureau has talked about over the years. We have worked to tackle some of those issues, and I believe that it has helped contribute to CNBC's recent moving Massachusetts from 8th to 5th in terms of America's top states to do business. And it's also about making investments. Clearly, the public sector cannot and should not be expected to do it all, but it has a role to play in help trying to create a context and an environment that's attractive to private investment. And I think working with our team in the corner office, we see central Massachusetts and Worcester County, for that matter, as being a key focal point for those critical investments that leverage those private dollars. Last week, many of us were just across the street as we embarked on the City Square project, which provides real opportunities and, most importantly, jobs, both now and into the future. 300 new construction jobs and hundreds more when the full build-out begins. And retaining 700 jobs and retaining a company that has been a signature player in this area and in Massachusetts for decades. The proximity to that site is key, and as Fred Eppinger talked about through the various articles, City Square site is attractive to their investors because of its proximity to Union Station. And this is a development, again, taken on by the city and the Redevelopment Authority and other partners to try to help create a transportation hub. Because we know from case study after case study, and the Research Bureau has talked about it as well, where you have good, affordable, accessible, and dependable transportation options, private sector investment follows, and companies follow as well. And key to the realizing the vision of Union Station was creating that activity, both from a rail and a bus and a cab and a car and a bicycle perspective, a true intermodal transportation hub. And we felt that early on, and with the governor's support and blessing, that we needed to prioritize and move up the punch list, the negotiations with CSX. Incredibly important, clearly to Worcester, and I knew that. And I knew that also was important to the Metro West area because we had a chance over the years to work together with the municipal officials in Ashland and Framingham to try to combine our collective political power, if you will, to kind of make sure that we were in the debate in the greater Boston circles. And we knew how important it was. But as we began those discussions, we also saw opportunities, maybe not tomorrow or the next year, but a few years down the road to opening up rail to other parts of our state. And so we started on those negotiations with CSX. And no doubt about it, there have been some hard and tough moments, but I think any good negotiation has those. But as a result of the partnership with CSX, we are moving forward on the second closing. Progress is being made. We've acquired the rail in not only southeastern Massachusetts, but a couple of key points in Boston that will allow us to entertain and explore and hopefully eventually implement some commuter rail service from Worcester and Metro West to not only South Station, but to North Station, further creating that cross-pollination that Roberta talked about in terms of where people can live, work, seek an education, giving businesses more options to stay in Massachusetts as opposed to just having only one option in the greater Boston area. And that's the vision. The negotiations and discussions I mentioned were tough at times, and I want to thank Congressman McGovern and Senator Kerry for their work, along with the support of the city manager, Mayor O'Brien, and the councilors and the delegation. But really, the key person, and I think we had an exchange here a few years ago, that I think helped both of us better understand and appreciate the viewpoints. But the key person and the quarterback, if you will, for the CSX team was Lisa Mancini. And I've had a chance to work with a lot of people in my time in government, and a lot of very good people. But I would say to you that she is one of the most decent people that I've met. She gets it. She drives a hard deal. But at the end of the day, she understands that there's a mutual benefit to CSX. Growing and expanding in the Northeast and Worcester being its hub. She understands a sense of responsibility back to helping the CSX meet the needs of this community as well and being a good corporate partner, a good community partner. And while we still have a little bit more work to do, let me just say that her efforts have been incredibly important. And I'll tell you her level of dedication as we were getting into the short strokes of the negotiations at the state, with the city and others to try to finalize the agreement. She flew up on a Sunday, left her kids and family and flew up with her team on a Sunday afternoon. I was over at Worcester State, assistant coach of a T-ball game, and I looked up, and I saw the CSX plane coming in, and I said, time to go up to the airport and have some discussions. So not only are they bringing trains, they're bringing planes as well to Worcester Airport. But she was committed, and leading her team was committed to getting this deal done. And as I said, we got a little more work to do, but we're making significant progress. Just give you a little background before our featured speaker comes up. Lisa is the Senior Vice President of Human Resources and Labor Relations for CSX Corporation. Her role includes oversight, responsibility of labor negotiations and contracts, in addition to responsibility for recruiting, training, and compensation. Lisa joined CSX in the Labor Relations Division in August 2003 and assumed the position of Vice President of Labor Relations in January of 2004. Prior to joining CSX, she dedicated 20 years of managing large public agencies, providing transportation and sanitation services in New York City, Philadelphia, and San Francisco. She earned a master's degree in city and regional planning and public policy in Massachusetts at Harvard's John F. Kennedy School of Government, and a bachelor's degree in mathematics from the University of Virginia. Two skill sets that I think were very critical into helping effectuate this negotiation, not only for Worcester and Westboro, but also for Beacon Park Yards and southeastern Massachusetts. She understands that the pursuit of rail and better utilization of our rail assets from both the commuter rail and freight perspective strengthens our economy and is all about good regional planning. Worcester and the region, quite frankly, would not be moving forward, and the state for that matter, on rail expansion without the tenacity, dedication, commitment, and leadership of Lisa Mancini. Please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, Lisa Mancini.